So I'm hoping that you, my people, kind of more down to earth now. And I'm saying this because I know some of y'all were following big time Q, and you were waiting for some things to happen, especially last week with certain dates and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna disparage what that whole thing is, but what I'm gonna say is that some of the stuff just didn't come true. Okay, so how do you act in that, and is it proper to have maybe a little bit more of a discernment about some of the things that, oh man, that's a bad accident. Some of the things that we allow to influence us, and this is where like when I talk, like I told you before, and I've said several times, I talk to the average person, and on either side of the political aisle, I talk to people who are non-Christian and Christian. I talk to everybody just because I feel like it's important that people, they just got somewhere to go that's not going to freaking lie to them. I got no stake in lying to you about stuff. I got no stake in freaking giving you and blowing smoke up your butt either. So I always want to be real with you about what I see. This is why I talk and I do what I do. But for you folks who are and were Q followers, understand that there were some things that just didn't happen. And so, but you have to be able to take away some good things about that movement. So first off, you were shown some stuff about this world, about the world around us, that you and I, none of us knew about. And Q helped to actually kind of open that up for everybody to see, which you and I, we all need to be thankful for, okay? All of us need to be thankful for that, because believe me, I mean, I was knee deep in it last year, wondering what the heck was going on. Again, I wasn't full on like, I'm full on, blowing out and stuff, believing everything, but I was still like, man, I never knew. And some of the, and like I told you before, I went onto one of the hashtags on Twitter. That's where it set me off bad. Oh man, it set me off bad because it was what was the dang? I didn't want to say the name of the term, but it was a hashtag that led you to what were mystery hashtags that only if you were a part of this community, this one community, you knew what the hashtags were. Actually, now I remember what the dang. I'm not gonna say it now, but I went onto it I wanted to prove like, okay, maybe I'm just tripping. Nope, I went onto it and saw something of this little kid doing something on video that was detestable and disgusting. And I'll never forget it, reported all that stuff. But you know what they do on Twitter, they let that stuff roll and they let it ride. Most people didn't even know this stuff even existed. They're on these platforms, even Facebook, they're on these platforms, they don't know what to look for. They don't know the symbolisms. They don't know any of that stuff. But what they do know is that it's out there. And so the biggest thing, the takeaway that you and I can have for this is that, there are some people out there who are willing to do evil to children, but do evil to children in a way that none of us wants to ever be a part of, ever see, ever witness, or the like. We just don't want to know. And that's understandable because it's nightmarish. But the other part about this that I need to make sure that I talk about here is that when we put our hope into people, into ideas, into folks being kind of like the prophetic in that, without really knowing who the individuals actually are, what it is that they actually are standing for and the like, because you know what they're standing for, but you don't know who they actually are and what their real agenda is. I mean, nobody really knows. Nobody really knows. I'm just being real with you. Nobody really knows. It's just supposedly somebody that's supposed to be behind the veil, that behind some ex-special ops, whatever, individual that knows information, is like a prophet, whatever. Well, you're seeing that some of the stuff just wasn't true. And it's not that you put your hope into some of the prophecies, because some of the stuff you're hoping for would actually happen. But it's that you're putting your hope, period, into people that supposedly have your best interest at heart. That's a hard thing to come to and to own. Because if you're outside of faith and you're putting your hope into people, politics, into these things, into a great awakening that happens because of a political movement, you're putting your hope in the wrong things. And sadly, a lot of people do that without really understanding that you can't put your hope into people because people are sinful. People can be up to all kinds of shenanigans without you knowing it. They could be leading you astray, leading you into believing things that aren't true. Now, are these people bad? Are they terrible? No, man. No way, dude. And to the way the media tried to spin it, I mean, you understand. They basically, everything that they said about Q, they should have been saying about BLM. They should have been. but they didn't, because they're scared of black people acting freaking crazy. You shouldn't be scared of black folks acting crazy. Let me just be real with you, okay? Don't be scared of that. What you be fearful of is that the people who are willing to destroy you, that these people are willing to go to hell for that. And then they'll tell God, well, in the end, I was doing good for my skin color and that kind of type of thing. No, you were doing straight the devil's work. So that's what you'd be fearful about. People that don't acknowledge the truth about what happens in the end, and also are willing to hurt other individuals for their own ideological purposes. So let me get back to this, okay? You and I have a responsibility here, is to really vet what information that we take in, and to look through it to see what's really being said, why is it being said, and what's the purpose of it being said. If people were really willing to do an honest assessment of some of the stuff that Q was saying, you would look back on it and say, okay, when you get to talking about time travel and the last president, you know that some of the stuff just can't be true. It just can't be. But what you can say is, you know, all right, maybe this should be something that I'm fully following, as if it is actually true. The hard part is that some of the stuff actually did end up happening, which is nuts. But you know, it is what it is. So you have to be. In the end, it comes down to discernment. Are you willing to discern what you're looking at, or are you willing to blindly follow this stuff? If you're just going to blindly follow it, you'll get used. You don't want to get used. But what you do want to do is you want to use a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of courage, and some insight into what it is that you take in as being the truth. Because some people out there, they want to tell you what they think is the truth, but it's not. They actually might want to be telling you a lie, okay? And I ain't trying to do all that. I know who I work for. I know who Jesus Christ is. And I ain't trying to go before him telling him, hey, well, I was just trying to I was trying to shine some folks on to make some money. You understand that money goes, God stays. Just being real. So when you are, if you are an individual that was following Q, you know what March 4th actually equated to. It didn't come to fruition. So take some of that stuff, take the lessons, put the band-aids on, put the ointment on, and move forward. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be mad at yourself for thinking, believing those things to be true. Because, I mean, really, there were some really legitimate things that were actually happening that they were calling out. But some things that were supposed to happen that were supposed to be very important didn't happen. So take it with a grain of salt. Move on to the next. But seek out real, truthful, honest people who want to tell you the truth, so that they end up not leading you astray into false hope. This false hope isn't hope. False hope is actually deception. You don't want to be deceived.